Hi, Com610. Well, this is the last time we'll meet for this class, and I have to say it's been a pleasure working with you ladies once again. Can't wait until, or I can wait. I hope you all have a great break, but I look forward to working with you during the next class. I'll go ahead and jump right on in. For my textual analysis project, I chose to analyze the annual event that my company holds called the Firm Picnic. A little bit of intro. It's an annual event. It is held in New Bern, North Carolina, which is our headquarters. People from all 5 offices, employees, families, and friends are invited. It is a very large event. About 300 to 400 people showed up this past year. It includes great food, games, activities, all sorts of things. And then one thing I wanted to point out in the intro is that I feel like it lacks the full potential that it could have, and I'll go into that later in my paper. Okay, real quick, the rationale focuses on the role of employee morale and ways in which companies can achieve this, such as the annual firm picnic. In one of the studies, it's stated that the impact of human resource practices on internal customer satisfaction was analyzed for how it can create a comparative advantage for the organization's performance. I felt like that was important because I'm ultimately looking at the organizational culture in relation to how well the organization's employee morale is. In the third study that I analyzed, David looked into how pay-for-performance systems were becoming more common for workers at all levels of organizations. I ultimately wanted to look into how this could possibly benefit the firm as to whether they want to transition into doing more of the pay-for-performance rather than this annual firm picnic as a thank you for the year for employees. The theoretical framework, I looked into 2 things: organizational culture, which is defined as the actions, ways of thinking, practices, stories, and artifacts that characterize a particular organization. The second thing I looked into was ethnography, which is the writing of culture. This will help lead my research in the direction of how well managers are willing to accept comments from subordinates using an effective communication style, for example, satisfactory upward and downward communication. For the methodology, organizational ethnography provides thick descriptions of organizational life, often capturing subtle points that are overlooked by traditional research methods. For example, consider the differences between a traditional written survey of the employee satisfaction of the firm picnic versus an ethnography of the picnic. The ethnography form would be more observant and open to a wider variety of findings because it is told more like a story, whereas the written survey would be very cut and dry, answering only the questions asked. Ethnography is a stimulus for cultural change and dialogue as it exposes sources of power and resistance and reveals values and beliefs that might otherwise be taken for granted. The way that this could help benefit the firm picnic is by way of encouraging the company to look beyond managerial and profitability aspects of the organization and more towards how an organization creates a sense of community at the firm picnic rather than turning it into another opportunity to make a new client. The picnic will serve as a culture of performance that reveals the importance of employee morale and the ways in which companies go about motivating employees to become more productive while at the same time enjoying their jobs. Research has shown that by going about a company activity such as this, using the organizational ethnography approach is the best. And just to quickly point out that I noted that for the future, I think holding employee surveys about how everyone thought the picnic went and how they think it could go better in the future would be a good opportunity to take on, but of course this project didn't quite call for that. My findings. The specifics of the picnic were the most important, I felt. I did conclude that the location still should be moved to Raleigh. I believe this is important because it is more convenient being the central office of the middle of the 5. Also, the employees from the headquarters of New Bern could get a little out of their comfort zone, which may help the transition to making Raleigh the headquarters a little better. And of course, the new location would need to accommodate just as many people as the New Bern location does. Also, employees need to see a specific change in culture in both the firm picnic as well as the employee morale in the aftermath. Eisenberg et al. States that there's no one best way to organize, and all ways of organizing are not equally effective. So, in other words, it's hit or miss. We just need to try something new and see how it happens. Organizing needs to sometimes be about taking risks. And a change of culture means a change of company morale, and I feel like the picnic is the perfect place to do this. And here are my references. Again, thank you guys, and I hope you all have a great holiday.